NXT news happening. Yesterday, so obviously we know there's a new logo coming, and that's right out of WWE's services. The music is produced by Wale, so you could see that they're going more of a pop culture type feel rather than going with like the metal and the TripleH motorcycle club.
One big motorcycle for everybody.
Just one big motorcycle. That's it. But here's the interesting thing. So a report came out yesterday that Vince and Bruce are now producing. Okay.
Bruce Pritchard. So I was in the middle of like deep, like day job work stuff. Okay. So I haven't followed up. I didn't do any, I didn't say anything. I didn't look at anything. So all of a sudden I see a bunch of messages and I look at my DMs. It was like 7 DMs and Brian messaged me. And Brian's like, "Hey, you wanna fill me in on any of this?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm filling in the words here, but pretty much he was like, "Hey, what do you know?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Actually, I didn't ask anybody. Let me ask." And I messaged and I asked, and I put out the message, right? And I want to kind of break this down and piggyback off of some other stuff. Vince has been very hands-on and will continue moving forward. That's all that they said. And my question was, hey, what's going on with NXT? Are the rumors true? And I sent the link to Vince and Bruce producing NXT. Okay.
All right. So what does this mean? Let me pull up some more notes here because it's important to get the wording right. So this is what I'm seeing, right? This doesn't mean that Hunter and whoever HBK are pulled from their power, right? The operational end has not changed. That's still staying in place. It would be more of the TV that's going to be handled by, I guess you could say, the WWE side, rather than the NXT side, right?
Well,
I guess that would be a fair way to put it.
Well, also wouldn't the focus on talent be more skewed to the big new people than scanning the indies and sending William Regal out to like PWG shows like they used to?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do that either. That those days are done, and they're going back to how they used to scout, and they want to scout athletes, Olympians, collegiate athletes, things like that. Or anomalies, 7-foot bodybuilders. They're going to go back to the old way they did it. Now, this doesn't mean that the indie guys are not going to get hired, because eventually you got to start somewhere, and they are going to hire. But they're not going to hire. They're not actively looking to sign a Ricochet. All right, Let's just put it that way. They're not. That's not what they're going for. Where maybe in 2015 to 2017, 18, that was the direction they were going in, where they were trying to get the biggest names and allowing them to keep their character and their gimmicks and their names. They've now gone back to the old way of doing it, where let us find you, let us build you, and let us create you. And I think that's going to be NXT.
I mean, that's what they used to do, right? Like in the old days of OVW and FCW, it was a lot of like those physical prospects, right? Yeah. Like the guys who
Bobby Lashley. Look at the roster now. Yeah. Bobby Lashley wasn't an indie darling, right?
No.
Big E. Big E's another great example, which he's going to get a huge push coming up. He was not an indie darling.
A lot of their top guys over the last few years, I think people fail to remember, like Braun Strowman, not an indie darling. Braun Strowman was homegrown. He was on the Ho Train with what's his name? Not the Ho Train, that party train thing with Adam Rose. He was one of the Rosebuds.
He was one of the Rose. By the way, Adam Mish in the chat room with a beautiful compliment. Rich looks way more handsome when I catch the show live.
Oh yeah, Adam Mish, love you, baby.
Yeah, so NXT will be different. Okay, let's just next week. Is it next week we're gonna see the change? Right? Was it 3 weeks of taping? We have one more week of taping. I can't remember.
I want to say one more week of taping, and then the week after that's going to be the implementation with the new logo. How do you feel about that logo, by the way? That really split everybody in half.
Yeah, I don't really have much feelings towards it.
but they did just change the logo.
Yeah, they put a skull. They put a funky skull on it with wings, and then they were like.
Can you believe? Like, can you imagine if that was it for Vince? That was the moment. He's like, Hunter, enough of this shit. Enough of the skulls and the motorcycles and the wings and the leather jackets. Enough. We're over this. It's over. Give me the book. I'm taking over. We're going colors.
He wants to put a leather jacket and cool motorcycle onto everything, but I don't think Hunter can ride a motorcycle. He always came out on those like really big like tricycle ones.
Yeah. Maybe he can. I don't know. Maybe he's a bike guy. Maybe he just likes to keep his balance on the ramp. So, listen, to kind of go into it, Vince and Bruce are going to have their hand in this, including other people. They're the two names that came up. They're not. It's not like Vince is going to be there weekly, but it is going to be less closed in. Let's just say it that way. NXT is going to be less closed in to their people.
Okay.
Also, we already saw the changes with the taping. Have you watched the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. It's for sure skewing more towards like a main event style.
Yeah, and look who
main roster. Sorry.
I was listening to Brian and Dave this morning, and he had a good point. He's like, listen, Kyle O'Reilly was not wrestling Roderick Strong on these tapings. He was wrestling, someone up and coming. The same thing with Roddy.
Right.
They're going to use these guys, these veterans, in a position to get these other guys over, like a Dexter Loomis and what's the other one's name that they're really high on?
Ridge Holland.
Rich Holland's. I mean, these are fascinating looking guys, and that's kind of what they want. Everybody's a cartoon. I keep saying this week after week, and that's how they book it now. You got to be a cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, you look at just the history of WWE, and it's like that's what they kind of rely on, right? Where they're like, when shit goes haywire, their immediate answer is make everybody a cartoon.
Yeah. Listen, we'll see what happens. I'm very interested to see what happens. Thanks for checking out this clip. For more, be sure to like and subscribe. In addition to this channel, the Matman Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and it's also available on F4WOnline.com as part of the Wrestling Observer Network.